Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to Answers Life. I hope everyone's having a great day today. Uh, I figure since I was off today from my job, I would give you guys an outdoor video. I ain't done one of these videos in at least a couple of months because I haven't been able to. Because by the time I get home from work, it's already nighttime, and plus I've been busy getting my other house together so I can move over there eventually. But anyways, welcome to Andrew's Life. Today, where I'm at, it's in the mid 60s, a little bit of wind, uh, sunny. So I'm out here enjoying it. I mean, it's kind of like a early fall day. I mean, for those of you that are from the north, this would resemble probably an early fall day for you guys. But down where I'm at, this is basically what winter time looks like and feels like for the most part. But anyways, I want to talk about how to go about purchasing a piece of real estate for a lower than market value price, and at the same time live in a community that you desire to live in. Like a lot of times, whenever you go about looking for a piece of real estate that's low price, typically the house is going to have a crap load of issues, and or it's going to be somewhere in a undesirable neighborhood. Well, I just want to give you guys some advice of how you can navigate around some of those challenges when looking to buy your next home. Or for those of you that are first time home buyers, I think this would be good advice for you people. Now, a lot of you guys, you have the tendency to first, since most of you are going to most likely use financing to buy your home, obviously the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your local bank or credit union and see what you qualify for. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do. That way when you go looking for houses, you know how much home that you'll be able to afford to purchase. Now, a lot of you have a habit of, after you find out what it is you qualify for home-wise, a lot of you have a habit of immediately looking around for a realtor. And that's where you guys mess up at. The second thing you guys need to do after you get your financial situation straight is you need to go educate yourself about the local market in which you reside in. You need to go on Zillow, go on realtor.com, and whatever area you're looking to move to or areas you're considering moving to, you need to go ahead and look at houses online. And whatever houses that you think you're interested in and you would like to go look at in person and check out the area, take the time, take the energy, spend a little bit of money on gas, jump in your vehicle and look at these properties in person. If you look at the property in person, you drive around the area, you check out the area, and you still like what you see, then go back home, shop around for an agent, and have the agent show you the inside of the house. Now, I would say in a perfect world, that's how things would go, just like that. No difficulties. Unfortunately, especially after these new realtor laws been passed, and I think they're passed in July or August. I've been hearing. Apparently the word in the streets are, you got a lot of realtors that will not show you certain properties. They will do what they call steering their client. Now, and honestly, that has been going on even before these new realtor laws done kicked in. But apparently, after these new realtor laws kicked in, it's been going on a little bit more. You got realtors doing what they call steering, which, by the way, is against the law, and realtors are not supposed to do that. But they do it anyways because see what they do is, let's say you find a house that you're interested in looking, you want to go look on the inside and see if you like it. What may happen is, whoever you choose to be your realtor, they might call the other realtor and ask how much will they make in commission. When I say they, I'm talking about your realtor. And they might say something, well, okay, well, the seller has agreed to pay, let's say, 1 or 2%. That realtor might be like, okay, they don't like those figures. They feel that they should be making at least 3% or higher. So the realtor that you chose, they may decide to not show you that property because they're not going to get a big enough cut out of that commission. Or two, if you choose to not educate yourself about your local market, if you choose to not go out and look at a lot of these properties in person before looking for a realtor, if you choose to just immediately look for a realtor and then have the realtor look for a house for you, which a lot of you do make that mistake. And the reason why I keep saying that's a mistake is because if you do that, you might tell a realtor, hey, I'm able to finance a home for, let's say, $250,000. Let's act like you're looking to buy a house somewhere in the Midwest or somewhere down here in the South. You qualify for up to, we'll say, $250,000. Well, the realtor is going to naturally give you a crap load of listings that are going to be within that $250,000 figure. But maybe the house you really want may not cost $250,000. Maybe the house you really want, it might be for sale on a foreclosure, and you may be able to grab it up for, let's say, $150,000 or even $100,000. Or in some cases under $100,000. However, you will never know about that house because your realtor is not going to tell you about that house. Because maybe the realtor went through and they done made some calls and they were inquiring how much money that they would receive in commission. And if they felt that that money wasn't going to be enough, they weren't going to even bother to email you or to text you those listings. So a lot of times the listings that they'll text you will typically be on the top of your price range of what you told them that you qualified for. And sometimes you might find what you want within those listings. A lot of times you won't. A lot of times you could have found something better for way cheaper, but since you chose to not do your own due diligence and you chose to strictly rely on your realtor, you get what you get. So for those of you first-time home buyers especially, hopefully you're watching this video, and if you are, listen to me closely. I know your realtor is supposed to represent you. In a perfect world, they would. But in reality, you got a crap load of realtors out here. I would say at least 80+% of realtors out here that although they're supposed to represent you, at the end of the day, all they care about is their own pocketbook. They don't care about you. They care about themselves and themselves only. Because unfortunately, whenever you get into a housing boom like the boom that we're just getting out of, you get a bunch of realtors. Like right now, you still got quite a few realtors out here that only had their license for maybe a few years or so. They look at the real estate market as, hey man, this is going to be easy peasy. I can get out here. I can make some big money selling people houses. So naturally, they're going to look for clients with the most amount of money to spend on a house. Or if you go to them and you tell them what your price limits are, naturally they're going to only give you listings on top of that price range. Like if you tell them, hey, I qualify for, let's say, $150,000. Okay, well, they'll give you listings for $150,000. Everything and anything under $150,000, you ain't gonna see, because they're not gonna give you. Because at the end of the day, they don't really care about you, the client. They only care about their own pocketbook. And a lot of these newer agents out here, anytime they gotta actually do some work, you might run into some situations like I done ran into before when I was looking at lower price houses up in Indiana. One minute you talking to them, you know, you're conversating back and forth. They're giving you all kind of texts and emails of of listings that are currently on the market, that are currently active, and then one day you wake up and all of a sudden they ghost you. You give them, you might text them, you might email them, no response. You call them, they don't pick up. You leave a voicemail, they don't answer, and a day or two goes by, still nothing. So all of a sudden it's like, yeah, they didn't ghost you because you're actually demanding that they do what they're supposed to do, and they don't want to do what they're supposed to do. All they want to do is collect money. All they want to do is collect pay. They do not care about you, the client. I mean, it's a sad reality in the real estate market, but it is what it is, and that's how it is. And that's why, as a buyer, you need to be educated. Now, obviously, I am not a realtor. The information I'm giving you is based off of the fact that I have purchased and sold a crap load of houses. And I have worked with a ton of realtors between Indiana and Alabama and also Tennessee. And Ohio, like in Ohio too. So just based on my experience as a buyer and a seller, that's where I get my information from, and that's where I get my information from. So so yeah, when it comes to the realtor, don't rely on the realtor to do all your searching for you. You gotta get out and do your own searching. And then when you find something that you want, then you contact your realtor and you tell your realtor you want to look at that particular property. If the realtor tells you no, I'm not going to show you, I'm not getting enough of commission. Okay, you know what? Tell your realtor to go somewhere and go hire somebody else. Now, I understand that some states don't allow what is called, I forgot what they called it, but anyways, there's a lot of states that do allow you to use the same realtor as a buyer. The same realtor that the seller is using, you as a buyer can use that same agent if necessary. And sometimes you might have to do exactly that in order to purchase the home that you want to purchase before somebody else beats you to the punch. So my attitude is whatever I gotta do to buy the house I want to buy, I'm gonna do within reason, obviously. So if the agent that you chose to hire, if they don't show you the house that you want to purchase, fire that agent and go hire somebody else. If you can't find anybody to show you that house, then you might have to use the same agent as the seller is using. And another thing that you're going to want to do when it comes to looking for this house at a bargain price, but yet in an area that you desire to reside in, is you might have to exercise some non-conventional ways to look for a house. Now, obviously, my first choice is to look at a house to the MLS. Now, you might even have to resort to social media to look for houses. You might, Craigslist, the Facebook Marketplace. Now, if you use Craigslist or the Facebook Marketplace, some sellers might tell you that they don't want you to have an agent. And for those that tell you that, my suggestion to you is to don't deal with them, especially as a first-time home buyer who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. My suggestion is always hire an agent, and preferably an agent that's got a little bit of experience, and B, they genuinely have a heart for real estate. And if you buy a house from somebody on, off a Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or any social media source, now a lot of times sellers who sell houses like that, they'll offer you what they call a quit claim deed. Now, I've purchased two houses before to where I received a quit claim deed. However, given the housing prices anymore, and again, especially as a first time home buyer, my suggestion to you is go ahead, pay a little extra money, and do a full blown title search on that property. Make sure that property truly belongs to the seller and not anybody else. Make sure the seller doesn't have any liens on that property. Because you don't want to buy the property and then they give you a quick claim deed and all of a sudden someone you're losing your home because so and so owns a home and this person and that person did this and that and the third paperwork's all fucked up and now you're getting ready to lose your house. So whenever you buy a house from anybody, I don't care if it's an MLS, I don't care if it's through Facebook Marketplace, I don't care if it's through Craigslist, my suggestion is pay a little extra money and do a full-blown and hire a title company to do a full-blown title search. That way you get that assurance that that the house that you're purchasing actually belongs to the seller and not nobody else. That way you're also getting that assurance that it doesn't have any liens on it. Nobody's going to be able to come for you later and try to take your home. I mean, there was a home, I want to say, a couple of months, 2-3 months or so ago. And I did a video on this house. And this house was here in Alabama. And the price of this house was, if I can remember clearly, I think it was priced at $35,000. And it sat on an acre. Half was cleared, half was treed. And I was looking to buy this house. Now, I would say a couple of days before we were scheduled to close on this house, I got a call from my realtor, and my realtor told me that the title company told my realtor that the house apparently, the paperwork wasn't right, in layman's terms. Like, the seller of the house did not have full rights to sell the house. I mean, this individual had other people that she had to get their approval before this individual was able to sell the house. So to make a long story short, I ended up backing out of that deal because the paperwork on that house was not right. And and honestly, I'm so grateful that things with that house didn't work, because the house I purchased is 10 times better, in my opinion. So that's just an example of why it is that when you're looking to buy a house, you do not want to have a quit claim deed. You want to go ahead, pay that extra money, have that title search done, and make sure everything checks out the way it's supposed to. And another piece of advice that I have to offer when it comes to looking to purchase that house, that ideal home for that ideal price, lower than market value price preferably, is and this is another mistake which I know a lot of you people make, especially you first time home buyers out here. A lot of times you like to go on social media and you like to research the top 10 or the top 20 cities to reside in. Don't do that. Because if you only buy houses that are within the top 10 or the top 20 cities to reside in, you're most likely not going to find that deal that you want, that you're looking for. You're most likely not going to find what you're looking for unless you're willing to pay a premium price. Like, one lesson I've learned, and I've learned this several years ago, was when it comes to buying that ideal home, to me, the trick of the trade is Like if you work a 9 to 5, most likely you're gonna need to be within an hour of a major metro area. For many of you, that's how it is. So, with that being said, that little small, raggedy, ran down looking town, that little small town with the ran down downtown area that gets little to no attention from media sources that some people might even talk negative about. Those are the type of communities that you guys need to start looking at when it comes to buying your next home. Now, just because people talk bad about a particular community does not mean that that community is a bad place to live. That community might have low crime, very affordable housing prices, reasonable property tax rates, and you might even get some land with your house. Like rather than buying a house to where you're sitting on top of your next door neighbor, you might get a house that sits on a quarter of an acre or greater for maybe $100,000, or in some cases under $100,000. Now, for those of you, for those of you that might be handy and you're into buying fixer-uppers, maybe you're able to purchase a house and pay cash. Definitely, to get those better deals, you're gonna want to look outside the city. Like some of the smaller communities that are within an hour of the metro, the type of communities that are not on the top 10 list, the type of communities that most people never even heard of, the type of communities that entertainment wise, there's really nothing to do. Amenity wise, it's minimal. You might have a Dollar General and a gas station, that's about it. The type of towns that people talk down on. Those are the, like I said, those are the communities that you're gonna want to check out. Like like the house I purchased recently, it's located out. It's not located in town. It's located outside of town. And sometimes with some of these towns that may not be in the best condition, if you don't want to live in town and you prefer to live somewhere a little bit more rural, sometimes if you drive 5 to 10 minutes outside of that particular town, you can find somewhere in a rural area sitting on 1 or 2 or several acres of land, and you might be able to buy that house for less than $200,000 in some cases, and the house be turnkey, move-in ready. Or you might be able to find that fixer-upper in areas like that you might be able to purchase like I did for 50, 60, $70,000 or so. It's just that you'll have to do a little bit of fixing up to the house. Or if you purchase the house for a low enough price, like I did, you might have money in your budget to hire people to do most of all the fixing up for you. That way you ain't even gotta do anything. Just pay the money, have somebody else do it, and just make sure that the work is being done. And then once all the work is done, you can move in or do whatever. So yeah, when you're looking to buy that ideal property, don't make the mistake of relying on top 10 or top 20 places to live. I don't care if it's the city. I don't care if it's a small town. Any community that's on some top 10 or some top 20 place to live, most likely if you buy in that area, be prepared to pay a premium price because the market in those areas are going to be a little bit more competitive. And I've kind of said this earlier, but I'll say it again for you younger folks out here. But when it comes to entertainment, well, you're going to have to sacrifice. Do you want to become a homeowner and be able to purchase a home for a reasonable and affordable price? Or do you want to keep on renting and crying about how high your rent is? Or if you purchase, you're going to cry because your mortgage prices are insane. That your mortgage is going to be insane. because you chose to buy in the city. So which one do y'all want to do? And that's what y'all need to be thinking about. So and that's another thing. In these communities that I'm describing, you're not going to have a lot of entertainment, if any at all. The most amount of entertainment you might have is going to the neighborhood park. Secondly, when it comes to amenities, you're going to most likely have to drive 20 minutes to a half hour to get to many of your amenities. Like, for an example, you might have to drive 20 minutes to a half hour to your closest grocery store. You might have to, for any type of entertainment, you might have to drive an hour to the closest major city for entertainment. And for those of you that are used to your Starbucks coffee house, you can kiss that shit goodbye. You're not gonna see none of that in many of these communities that I'm talking about. So again, if that's really important to you, you might have to prepare yourself to drive a minimum of a half hour to the closest smaller cities for that Starbucks. For those of you that are used to that. So I would say as long as you're willing to get used to that type of a lifestyle, as long as you're going to looking at as long as you're going to shopping around for your next home with all the things that I've discussed on this video in mind, with a realistic mindset on top of that, I'm not saying it's going to be super easy to find what you're looking for, but it will definitely be much easier to find what you're looking for. So hopefully I helped out some of you. Hopefully I restored a little bit of faith in the housing market for some of you. And yes, I do realize that the housing market today is insane in many parts of the country. Even here in Alabama, the housing market is still a little crazy in my opinion. I mean, I am not one of these out of touch people that doesn't think the housing market is insane. I do think the housing market is crazy, and I do wish for the housing market to change to where housing prices become more affordable. However, for those of you that are out here right now shopping around for a home, I feel this piece of information will be very valuable to you guys. Now, even when the housing market does get better, if you were to come across this video at that point, I still say that this piece of information will be extremely valuable for many of you. So that's all I got for you guys. Stay blessed. I'll catch you all on the next one. Good luck shopping for your new home.